There are moments in Formula One when the tension isn't measured in lap times, pit stops, or overtakes, it's measured in silence. The silence between the words of a team boss, the pause before a driver answers a contract question, the quiet, calculated hesitation that tells you there's more to the story than anyone's admitting. Right now, George Russell is in that silence. On paper, things look perfect. He's back on the podium at the Hungarian Grand Prix, outperforming most of the grid and leading the non-McLaren world. He's the dependable #1 driver. Mercedes says they couldn't wish for better. But behind the PR smiles, Toto Wolff is refusing to commit to the kind of deal Russell really wants. And that hesitation speaks volumes. Russell wants security. He wants a long-term contract that keeps him in silver until the end of the decade. He's earned it with relentless performances in a car that, let's be honest, hasn't been the best on the grid for years. But Toto, he's keeping the door open. Because in the shadows of every contract discussion, one name keeps echoing. Max Verstappen. Yes, Verstappen is locked in at Red Bull for 2026, but after that, all bets are off. And Mercedes know it. That's why Russell's future, as stable as it looks for next season, is far from guaranteed in the years ahead. The context matters here. Mercedes, despite the up-and-down form of recent seasons, are not a midfield team settling for good enough. They're a juggernaut plotting a comeback, and when a driver like Verstappen, 4-time world champion, relentless competitor could be available, you don't close that door. The irony, Russell has arguably been driving better than anyone not in a McLaren. Strip McLaren's dominance from the points table, and Russell would be leading a championship fight against Verstappen and Leclerc. He's been fast, consistent, and composed under pressure. But in Formula One, talent alone doesn't guarantee security. Politics, timing, and the ever-shifting driver market can rewrite careers overnight. Toto's praise for Russell sounds genuine, and it probably is, but praise isn't a contract. Especially not when Mercedes might have the chance to pair Russell with Verstappen or replace him entirely to make it happen. Russell knows this, and while he publicly plays it cool talking about relaxing over the summer and not rushing negotiations, he's a competitor. Competitors don't like uncertainty, and uncertainty is everywhere right now. Look at the bigger picture. McLaren are running away with the season, securing 4 consecutive 1-2 finishes and threatening to clinch the Constructors' title with races to spare. Ferrari, despite overhauling 99% of their car for this year, are still qualifying behind Mercedes and Red Bull, wasting the talents of Leclerc and Hamilton. Red Bull, once untouchable, are suddenly vulnerable, with Verstappen himself admitting race wins may be out of reach for the rest of the season. All of this chaos makes the 2027 driver market a powder keg waiting for a spark. If Mercedes believe they can return to the top in the new 2026 regulations, they'll want the most devastating lineup possible. That means any driver of a performing, loyal Russell could find themselves under scrutiny. Toto Wolff has made mistakes before, and he knows it. He openly admitted Mercedes botched a rear suspension change earlier this year, costing them valuable performance before reverting to a previous spec. That kind of public self-criticism is rare for Wolff, and it's a sign of how high the stakes feel inside Brackley. They've got Kimi Antonelli learning the ropes, Russell performing at an elite level, and James Allison quietly preparing what many hope will be another Mercedes masterpiece for 2026. But they also have to think about marketing, sponsorship, pull, and the psychological edge of having a driver like Verstappen in their garage. This isn't just about lap times, it's about making a statement. For Russell, the danger is that he becomes a victim of his own success. If he keeps delivering podiums, fighting McLarens in a slower car, and carrying Mercedes through this transition, he proves his worth, but he also makes himself look like the perfect teammate to Verstappen. That might sound like a compliment, but in this business, it can be a trap. Because if Toto decides that Verstappen's arrival means someone has to go, it won't be the reigning world champion walking out the door. Russell has fought too hard to be reduced to a bargaining chip, yet as long as the 2027 question mark hangs over Verstappen, Russell's long-term seat is not in his own hands. And that's the brutal reality of Formula One. Talent is essential, but timing is everything. George Russell might be the perfect fit for Mercedes right now, but in 2 years' time, the definition of perfect could change. Toto Wolff will keep praising him in public, keep smiling for the cameras, keep saying he'll sleep well over the summer, but make no mistake, behind the scenes, Mercedes are thinking in decades, not seasons, and Russell's future will depend on whether he's part of their ultimate vision or just their present solution. So as the summer break unfolds and the rumors swirl, one thing is certain: this story is far from over. And when the silence finally breaks, it could change everything. If you're following this saga as closely as the racing itself, now's the time to stay locked in. Because when F1 politics mix with the driver market, the real battles are fought off track, and they're every bit as ruthless. Drop your thoughts below on whether Russell should push for that long-term deal now, or gamble on himself for 2027. And if you want the full inside line on the biggest stories shaping the grid, make sure you're subscribed. The next chapter is coming in. You won't want to miss it.